Hello, Team BaseCamp. Hey, Coach Tim here. Over the course of the next 9 weeks, really, myself and the coaching team, we're going to be reviewing select Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday workouts. The purpose of these reviews, we're going to select people at random, maybe not totally random, but close to random. And we're going to walk you through how we review workouts, what we're looking for, what are some of like the key elements of success, and maybe what are some of the distractors from success. Before we do that, though, I want to go over an overarching concept of how we quantify training. What we use here at Basecamp is what's known as the SSA, the stress strain adaptation model for workout analysis. And this is a concept about how exercise stimuli is applied and what happens. The concept works like this. We need to understand this stress strain relationship. So when we apply stress to the system, you're the system in this case, right? When we apply stress to the system undergoes strain. Under strain, that system has a whole bunch of responses. And if we do the stress, we apply the stress right and create the correct strain, you will adapt to that strain. You will get stronger, better, bigger, faster, stronger, all the things that you want. So understanding the stress strain relationship, and that's what we do our analytics on, is how we can improve the odds of proper adaptation. Now, when we're thinking about stress and strain, stress is an external load. It's a measurement of what type of load, what type of stress, what type of stimuli we're applying to that system, and it's external. If you're going 400 watts up a hill, that's an external measurement. The watt is just a watt. It's a measurement of how much stress you're applying to the system. Remember, you're the system. Now, strain is what happens, the internal response to that external load. You're going up that hill at 400 watts. Your heart might be racing. You might be breathing really, really heavy, right? So the external load would be the watts, and the internal load would be something like heart rate, or the internal strain would be something like heart rate or respiratory rate or other things. But I'm going to give you examples. If we apply the right external load, get the right internal response, we adapt, we get a desired result, bigger, faster, stronger. Now, when we measure this, and I just gave you some insight, the key measurement of external load for athletes, as cyclists, we're blessed. Like training with power is the most precise way to do it because a watt is a watt. We can simply quantify the absolute stress load you're putting on the system, the external stress. So we'll use watts mainly, there's a couple of tricks coming, to measure that external stress. Internal stress, we're going to look heavily at heart rate. Again, we have some other tricks, some other things we'll talk about as we get more advanced, but we're going to look at external load as watts, internal response as heart rate. And I get this question all the time, heart rate training is better, power training is better. Training with power is the absolute best. But you must use a combination of the two if you really want to understand the stress strain relationship and get the proper result, which is you want more watts, you want to be able to do more power, you want to be able to go faster, right? That's important. Now, if we drill a little deeper into this stress strain relationship, we think about that external load, or internal response. We can manipulate that relationship. And this is where really getting in a proper training program, look, you got to have all this right. You got to have the right training load, the right rhythm, the right consistency, the right progression. But there's also ways that workout by workout, we can manipulate this stress strain relationship to maximize. And really what that means, I can give you some very simple examples, but over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be showing you more and more of this stress strain and then manipulation of that relationship for improved results. So one of the ways that we can manipulate external load, just putting out 400 watts, well, the reality is the stress that's created by doing that 400 watts at 105 RPM versus 55 RPM is different. It's different. They'll result in different, related, but different types of strain. I'll just give you an example here. If you're going 400 watts at 105, RPM, you're transferring that stress, you're hitting the cardiovascular system more, you're creating the demand for more oxygen. So your heart rate's probably higher, your respiratory rate is probably higher. When you do it at low, at 55 to 60 cadence, that's transferring some of that external stress. We're manipulating that external stress to put more load on the neuromuscular system, which will impact how your how your muscles contract, how forceful. So we use cadence and different cadences to manipulate the stress, the development of stress or application of stress on the system. Strain, there's lots of ways. We won't manage strain too much here, even though we're going to try to prepare you for some of it, because if you're doing RPI, you're going to be racing at altitude. But one of the things we see a tremendous amount of in the news is heat training. Like heat training is very popular now. If the higher the temperature, the more impacted the response to stress is. Your heart rate's higher, your respiratory rate's higher, you're dehydrated. You have to go through a lot of factors, right? Same with altitude. If you're training at altitude, you're training at sea level, your strain response to the same stress is different. So we're going to be talking about this stress strain items in workouts. When we launch workouts, and you've already seen one, I think by the time you'll see this video, just some of the key metrics. You can see the dark blue in the background, and I just picked a random workout from our winter program. You'll see the structure of the workout here. We'll always look at compliance. Did you do the workout as it was prescribed? And you can see this athlete here did. We'll always start, if you have power, we're going to start with power because that's the stress, the leading indicator. We'll work on measuring heart rate, not just your heart. We'll measure your heart too, trust me, but your heart rate. So you'll see power is the purple line, heart rate is the red line, and we'll look at different manipulations. In the first 2 weeks, maybe even 3, we're only going to be looking at cadence as the sole or solo manipulation because we don't want to start out too complex. I will do a part 2 of this video around week 3, and we'll start talking about more complex, deeper analytics or analysis of this stress strain adaptation model and how we should review our workouts. Hope that helps. Don't be afraid to ask questions in the Facebook group if you have them. Thanks, everybody.